right. Good evening. This is a call to order. Today's date is May 5th, 2022. The time is now 6:34 p.m. A meeting for the Teaching and Learning Committee. In attendance, we have committee member Joseph Kolovic, myself, Christine Baptiste Perez, and for staff, Michael Testani. The first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from April 5th, 2022.
Motion to approve minutes from April 5th, 2022.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passed. We're going to move on to the second item on the agenda, which is discussion and possible action on BMA, Bridgeport Military Academy's trip to the Boston Museum of Science. Do we have a representative here from BMA for that trip?
Yes, I'm here. This is Arun Kadam.
Hi, good evening.
Hello. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Doing well. Let me just actually pull it up on my screen.
Okay.
Maybe you could just start off with telling us a little bit about the trip, and then we'll go into any questions we may have.
Okay, the overview is the Boston trip is taking the science students to the Museum of Science. The Boston Museum of Science is a STEM, hands-on, engaging museum. It has many of the things that we cover in the NGSS curriculum. It shows the applied sciences to the students, everything that they probably learned theoretical. They also have different exhibits that show some of the higher functioning level ideas that we are not able to demonstrate in the class. And they do have a planetarium, which incorporates everything that we kind of go over, space exploration and space identification. Yeah.
Is
there more that we would like to know?
No. Are there any COVID protocols in place that any of these places have that we have to follow and be aware of?
The Boston Museum has no mask protocol, and it's not a mask mandatory. And they do have certain areas of their exhibits that they do follow the 6 feet distancing, but there is no school protocol requirement that we need.
Okay, so all right, so no testing requirements or anything.
No testing requirements.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to bring up a technicality. I just went past it. Can you just ensure that for each student, we have the full name of the emergency contact?
Oh, okay, yes.
I've noticed that there's some for this particular field trip, there's some students listed and we don't have the identification of who the person is that's the emergency contact, or we don't have the full name. So if you can get that to the full board.
That's fine. When would you need that by ASAP?
Preferably the next
Monday.
We have, the way it will work is once it's approved here with teaching and learning, it goes in front of the full board. So, which is this coming Monday. So for the students on the list where you see there's not not for this particular school, but just to make sure that we have the full name, the relation, and the contact information. We have the contact information, but for this particular trip, we need the full name of the parent and or guardian that we can contact the trip.
And the relationship as well. So I'll have that ready by tomorrow for the name and relationship.
Yeah, you can just email that to my office and we'll attach it to the pack.
Okay.
I don't have any additional questions. I kind of looked it up in advance. You guys already met the ratio 1 to 10 with students and chaperones. Are there any additional students that may go on the trip that's not listed here, or this is the final list?
This is the final list.
Okay. No?
Make a motion to recommend to the full board approval of the Bridgeport Military Academy trip to the Boston Museum of Science.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So just make sure you have that for Monday's meeting, and that's all we need from you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move to the third item on our agenda, which is discussion and possible action on Bridgeport Military Academy's overnight trip to Kettletown State Park in Southbury, Connecticut. And you're
Okay.
back. Okay. So just tell us a little bit about this particular trip.
So this is for a forensic science class. We're going out in the environment to understand how to real-time analyze evidence, find evidence, how to determine what kind of evidence we're looking at, if we're looking at direct evidence or circumstantial evidences. So everything that we have done in practice, in class, and in our crime scene room that we have at BMA, we're now going to take, because everything is controlled in the crime scene room, now we go to outside, stay overnight, and we have an uncontrolled area where we can actually see how things would change and how would the students react when you get to see things a little different, when it's not all prepared for you.
Nice.
Oh, sorry. I'm
Any
just looking through the
questions?
documents. Yeah, a couple. How many tents we have?
We have 4 tents. Each chaperone gets their own tent, and then there's an 8-person tent for males and 1 8-person tent for the females.
And where is the chaperone's tents located, going to be located in relationship to the student tents?
They will be right in the same. We have 2 campsites, and both tents will occupy both campsites, so the tents will be right next to each, right there.
I hope our staff's not going to be heavy sleepers. Okay, and I see the parents are bringing them and picking them up and dropping them off from the site.
That is correct.
Okay, so no bus, and apparently, obviously, no COVID protocols outside.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
You pretty much hit all the questions I would have asked. I don't have any questions.
There's questions right there. Want the motion?
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve Bridgeport Military Academy's field trip to be brought to the full board for approval to Kettletown State Park.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So that's also going to be brought to the full board this coming Monday.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, again.
you're back again. We're moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is discussion and possible action of Bridgeport Military Academy's trip to the Metropolitan Museum in New York.
So that is Miss. Yeah, she's right back there. That's her trip. If it's okay,
Not you.
not me. If it's okay, is it okay if I go? I am in the chaperoning the ring dance for the juniors.
Yes.
Yes, you're free to go.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you
much.
so
I
much.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good
Good
time.
night. Enjoy the trip.
Yes.
This one is Metropolitan Museum.
Yes, sit, relax.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, could you just state your name for the record?
Eileen McGinnis.
Okay, Ms. McGinnis, can you just tell us a little bit about the field trip to the Met?
Sure. So the purpose of the trip is to give students the opportunity to engage with historical artwork and artifacts in person at the largest art museum in the Western Hemisphere. AP Studio Arts and AP US History, those are the students that are going to be attending. are college level courses, so students engage with the course material at a much deeper level than any other art or history courses. So I believe it would be a meaningful experience for them to be given the opportunity to interact with the artwork and artifacts that they have learned about in these courses in person.
Okay. And do you have any questions immediately?
Not really, because I'm pretty familiar. New York's like basically wide open, so there's no COVID protocols.
Well, they have to wear masks.
They gotta wear masks?
Yes.
Oh, okay, oops. So they gotta wear masks, okay. And I see you got the certificate of insurance from DACO, because it's not our bus company. Good there.
Is this the final list of students?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as the allergies.
None of the students have medication in the nurse's office.
Okay.
Are students not permitted to bring cell phones on the trip?
No, they are permitted.
Hmm?
They are permitted.
Could you see if we can get those those student numbers?
The student cell numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then sorry, just gonna double check. And could you tell me the ratio exactly?
It's 24 students to 3 chaperones.
Oh, 1 to 8. Okay, so that meets our policy.
More than that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sahal?
No, I said it's more than that, yeah. As far as the ratios, 1 to 2.
Just double checking the insurance. That's met. Is there any testing requirements at the Met, or is it just they're asking for all visitors to wear masks?
Yeah, there's no COVID testing requirements, just masks.
Okay. And the students and the families are fully aware of that. They're okay. Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Nor do I.
I'll entertain a motion at this time to present to the full board Bridgeport Military Academy's trip to the Metropolitan Museum in New York City.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it's going to be presented to the full board. If you could just make sure you have the student contact information.
And I will send that to
You
you.
can send that to me, yeah.
Okay,
I'll take care of it for you.
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. We're going to move to the 5th item on the agenda, which is discussion and possible action on Bridgeport Public Schools Debate League trip to the Edward Kennedy Institute in Boston, Massachusetts.
Mr. Rapice is here.
That's right.
Debate king.
That's right.
All right.
No, you know it. Used to be poetry.
Good evening. Can you just tell us a little bit about the trip?
Yes. Actually, the trip originated from a Central High School graduate. A couple years back, a gentleman who graduated from Central contacted Fran Rabinowitz and told us about this trip. And the first time we went we went in 2019. We were scheduled to go the following year, but COVID, et cetera, et cetera. But this is an institution that was an institute that was put together by supporters of the late Senator Ted Kennedy. It's on the same campus as the JFK Library, and that's why we're actually going to both. But it's a model Senate hearing that the students will be participating in. When they go there, they'll get a pad, and they'll be given a designated state and party. So they might be a senator from Republican senator from Mississippi or a Democratic senator from Louisiana. They'll be given a topic. Ours this year is on voting rights and things of that nature. And they'll break up into committee rooms, and then they'll go, and they actually have a beautiful Senate module, and they'll debate the whatever the bill was that they were given.
Okay, nice. I was going to ask if there's any limit to a particular grade because there is a mix. What's the age of the youngest student?
We're taking this year 6th through 8th.
6 through 8.
And actually, I have 4 Harding High School students who weren't able to make it before. So those is only high school. There are 4 of them. But it's 6th through 8th, the majority of the students.
We have a student from Central as well.
Oh, yeah, one Central. Yeah, she's actually coaches the team from Battalion. Yes.
Okay. So, okay. And then same, no medical records. There's one comment that I did mention for earlier for the other school. Can you make sure we have signed and executed emergency contacts? We have.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote that down as a matter of fact, because I know what you're saying. Some of them I couldn't read their writing, so I left it blank, but I'll clarify. Yeah, what
and one in particular we have blank.
Yes, I know
So,
exactly which one you mean. I will get that right away.
okay, just want to make sure we have the contact. Kids, middle school kids these days have cell phones, so that's a generational gap. But if they do have contact numbers, I'd prefer if we have it, just in
Absolutely.
case.
Absolutely.
I looked up the Kennedy Center, that trip, and the COVID protocols. The Kennedy Center doesn't require any testing, but if you they ask if you're sick in advance, don't go.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're sick after, for contact tracing purposes, to notify them,
Yeah, exactly.
because it sounds like a great trip. So I looked into that in detail.
And then we get the library to boot. That's for free, actually. They let New England students in for free, so we get to go to the library as well, the JFK library.
Do you have any?
This time you took all the questions.
Oh, yeah, well, that fell into my area. I'm a lawyer, so I looked up that trip was, and I was on debate team, so.
You came to one of our debates, if I remember.
Yes.
So, yeah, so I appreciate that.
So if there's no questions, I'll entertain just the same thing before Monday's meeting, just to make sure we have all the contact information and fully executed permission slips. I'll entertain at this time a motion to bring in front of the whole entire board, Bridgeport, and get the full name, the Bridgeport Public Schools Debate League trip to the Kennedy Center.
Yeah. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sounds good.
Great.
Just have that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good seeing everyone.
Thanks. That's all. One more?
No, two more.
Two.
We're on the 6th item on the agenda, which is discussion and possible action on Fairchild Wheeler's IT trip to Yonkers, New York.
Yep, that's for me. Hello, everyone. This is Suchit Shantaraj from Fairchild Wheeler.
Hi, good evening.
Hi,
Could you
thanks for
tell
letting me
us a
speak
little
for a
bit
moment.
about the trip? Oh,
Yeah, of course. In short, this is a trip to a facility called iFly in Yonkers, New York. The class is for a group of conceptual physics students, and they have learned, laws of motion, forces, gravity, and all of those concepts, but they haven't had a chance to really experience a phenomenon besides dropping objects in class or something along those lines. So what this facility actually has is an indoor wind tunnel, and so the students will be taking part in an activity where the instructors will teach them how to do it, and they will be performing predictive calculations to see what the different outcomes should be for the wind tunnel itself, whether they're dropping objects or it's their own bodies. And the students actually get a chance to go one-on-one with the instructor in the wind tunnel itself. So each of the, I think it's 41 students on the trip, will be able to experience the wind tunnel itself and take part in their STEM presentation.
I have a question. Do you have any of the wind tunnel? Sounds great, but were there any additional liability forms executed? Because it is a simulation to a certain extent. The wind tunnel looks like the indoor skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah, so students are being asked to complete waivers, and parents have been notified of that.
for the particular waiver, could you have a copy of the waiver for the board and the language.
Absolutely, I could request that.
Mr. Sokolovic, do you have any questions?
Yes, it sounds like fun. Will they be participating in they're not going to be participating in the skydive simulation?
No, they
Or-
will. Each student
will?
will get a
Oh,
one-on-one
awesome.
chance, which is what we're looking
Okay, so
forward to.
that and the wind tunnel. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
We're excited.
Well, that's cool. That's why I just want to make sure that as the board, we have a copy of that language and what's being asked to be waived. So that can be fully considered by the board. This
Absolutely.
particular trip, I think we're pretty good. We're good with the ratio. We have our contact information. So. Yes, Mrs. Skolvic.
The waiver we're talking about, it's going to be provided by iFly, correct? The
That's
parent
correct.
waiver is going to be using there. Wait,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, and we've already reached out to the school nurse and let her know about the situation. And so the trip clearance from her is specifically keeping in mind that there will be no wind tunnel.
I think.
I don't have any further questions.
All that.
So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to present to the full board Fair Traveler IT's trip to, and I forgot the name of it, iFly. Second, all in favor? Aye. Great. If you could just have that information for Monday's meeting, we'll really appreciate it.
Great. And what's the best way for me to share that? Straight to you, Mr. Tassani? All right.
Thank you, Sucha.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. And lucky number 7, discussion and possible action on Hardin's trip to Westchester Marriott in Terrytown, New York.
So this is a trip for today's student, tomorrow's teachers. It's their 2022 annual recognition brunch. So the students that participated in the Today's Student, Tomorrow's Teacher program at Hardin were invited to attend the event. No one from Today's Student, Tomorrow's Teachers was available tonight, so I have no problem. I will also most likely be attending as a guest. They have the Honorable James Claiborne will be a special guest, member of Congress, and Alan Houston formerly of the New York Knicks, no longer, who is the Today's Student, Tomorrow's Teacher chair and Male Teacher of Color Initiative. So they will travel down to Terrytown. The registration and networking begins at 9:15. The brunch and awards go from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Students will receive, I'm sure, recognition for their participation. And then they will head back and should be back well in advance of this.
That works. Any questions? Mrs. Sokolovic?
Questions at all?
I have a question. Because it's going to be for that particular program, do we know how many people will be in attendance overall in Marriott? Or the full capacity?
I'm not sure. I can find out to see what their registrations were like. They have until May 20th, looking at the flyer that was sent for people to register and purchase a ticket. I will forward it to the entire board because I just received it today. If you'd like to participate and attend, you're more than welcome, obviously, to attend. I think it'd be great to see some support of our students. Parents can also purchase a ticket at a discount, half price. Not sure how many parents will be attending, but that has been offered as well.
Will we provide transportation to include the parents on the bus?
I'll find out. Like I said, I wasn't aware until today when I received the flyer from the folks at Today's Student, Tomorrow's Teacher. So if we can get some parents, they could ride the bus as chaperones with their children.
Right. And this is the final list of students. There's not going to be.
No, that's it. Yeah, from what I was told by Mr. Brown, that those were all the participants in the program this year.
And I think all we need from the school is just all the permission slips. I don't see them all
Okay.
right yet. Mrs. Skolvic?
Any questions?
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Let me see. This is going to take place on May 26th.
Yes.
Okay. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to present to the full board Hardin High School's trip to the Westchester Marriott in Terrytown, New York for the award ceremony.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. The motion passes. There's no additional items on the agenda. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. I mean, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that, the time now is 7 p.m. and that completes our meeting.
Thank you.
Awesome. Express approval. You get that new?